Hey, and welcome back to Real Housewife Recaps. Today we are covering Real Housewives of New York, Season 12, Episode 10, Something is Brewing. And I find the name very funny, and it's not lost on me, because if you don't know, Leah and Ramona got into a Instagram war last weekend, and Leah says that when they were at this restaurant they show tonight, Ramona pooped her pants. So I find that very funny. Supposedly, Ramona pooped her pants while hitting on that guy, and that Elise was a witness. So the name Something Brewing really strikes me funny. So as you remember, last week episode, Leah got completely torn up. So this is the aftermath of that. Elise says she's never seen anyone freaking out like that before. Leah talks about not being in a good place and drinking too much. Leah and Elise hug it out after arguing last week. I really just can't care about Elise. So then the ladies sit down to have some lunch, and Leah's sister, Sarah, arrives. Lou says she does look older, which I thought was a really funny, shady moment that the editors put in, the caption to that, so we could see it. Sarah has a 7-month-old baby. This is her first time away. She lives in Brooklyn. So then they all go back to the rentals. Tinsley and Leah and her sister are taking selfies. Sarah says sometimes Leah gets too sensual in pictures, and Tinsley blurts out, "I've made out with my sister." Wow. That's what Leah says to camera. Wow. So they're getting ready to go out to dinner, and Dorinda comes into Lou's cabin, and she's clearly been drinking all day, and she's upset. She's talked to John. Dorinda says she's really sad, and when she doesn't talk to him, she can get through it, but by talking to him, she feels the sadness. It's emotional realizing she's alone again. Lou to camera says, when you don't deal with your emotions, it creates a really negative energy around you, and I can feel that she's not in a good place. So then they all go out for dinner, and this is where the shit really hits the fan. Most of them are already drunk, I'd say especially Ramona and Sonja. Everyone scatters when they get to the restaurant. Tinsley gets upset. She says to the camera, when your table isn't ready, you might go to the bar and have a drink while you're waiting for your table. But then when your table is ready, that's when you sit down at the table. So again, I'd like to call your attention to the Instagram fight Ramona and Leah had. Apparently, this is where Ramona had pooped her pants. And she was hitting on this guy, and they were talking about the smell. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Ew. So Ramona asks this douchebag guy if he's single, and he says he's engaged and tries to steer her toward his friend. And she says out loud, "Oh, damn, but I liked you." Wow, classy, Ramona. Here I thought Ramona was a little bit more level-headed this season, but she rears her same behavior that's awful. She just likes to treat everybody like crap. It's usually the staff she's treating like crap, but when a guy's around, she treats her friends like crap. And I don't mean to keep talking about crap. That's so gross. So this poor waiter is trying to show the ladies the menu. Dorinda tells him to come back when all the girls are seated. Ramona is trying to say that Leah's drunk behavior previously is the reason she didn't want to sit down, which is funny because Ramona's drunk behavior is awful in this episode. So then Tinsley and Leah are talking, and it's apparently Tinsley's friend's restaurant. Ramona and Sonja are being rude and embarrassing, and they're talking about it. Leah to camera says, "I love Tinsley, but I don't think her delivery or communication with these women is productive at all." And then Tinsley goes over to try to round up the girls. She tells the guy to please stop talking to them so she can get them back to the table. And he is just such a douche. I mean, I think him and Ramona will be perfect for each other because they're equally douchey in this scene. And then Ramona, and full-on Ramona, just starts turning her back towards Tinsley. Tinsley trying to talk to her, and Ramona won't even look at her because she's so invested in flirting with these weirdo guys. There's such a funny moment here with Luann and Sonja, and they're doing impersonations of the way that Ramona is with these guys where they turn their backs. Meanwhile, Dorinda is getting so drunk that the editors try to translate for her, and they write unintelligible under her because she's just slurring her words so bad. It's pretty funny. So Leah and her sister come up with this plan to go up to the bar to try to get the guys' attention so that way they'll stop talking to Ramona. He starts talking to them. They tell him that they're trying to get their friends back to the table, and he says he has a fiance. They say, well, his fiance wouldn't like this. And he becomes such a jerk and says, look, this whole situation is your effing problem. Wow. Picked a good one, Ramona. So this finally gets to the girls back to the table. So Ramona's kind of arguing with Leah and her sister. Dorinda says, that's enough, and she leaves, which I found very funny. She just got up and left in the middle of it. And then Ramona, talking to Sonja, says, I want to erase her. Talking about Leah and her negative energy, and her sister's like a demon. And Sonja says, yeah, she's so weird. Sonja and Ramona are acting crazy. This guy's face was so funny at the bar. Leah to camera says, you can mess with me, but don't F with my family. She throws ravioli. Ramona has it on her face, and it's all over Sonja's shirt, which I found very funny, and I think they actually deserved it. Okay, yeah, she probably shouldn't have thrown food, but they were acting terrible. So Leah and her sister walk outside. Lou inexplicably decides to light this ornament on the table on fire, this dried corn. And Elise asked her what she's doing, and she says she's trying to burn the bad energy. So then to continue the what the heck is happening montage, we see Leah and Tinsley making out and drunkenly falling in the bushes. So the next morning, everybody's getting packed and ready to leave Rhode Island. Sarah's upset about last night. Leah's upset and feeling bad. Dorinda says she likes Leah, but she seems a bit lost, which I found very funny coming from Dorinda, who seems very lost this season. And then Ramona says it's unacceptable. Talking about Leah, she says if she wants to hang out with us, there's a certain demeanor and caliber way of acting. I'm expecting Leah to act responsibly around us. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Really? You're going to expect people to act responsibly around you? Did you see how you acted all night last night and how you treated your friends? So they leave there, and we go over to Lou and Ben, her cabaret producer. They're talking about the new cabaret show. Ben says she put cabaret on the map, which I don't believe is correct. They're talking about playing Mary F. Kill. It's part of the new act. Ben is telling her she has to sing her signature songs, and she's talking about bringing Sonja up on stage to sing too. Then we have Leah and her parents. They're talking about the Rhode Island trip, and her mom is talking about what a slippery slope it is with her and alcohol. So that was interesting to see her family. Then we see Dorinda, who supposedly is co-hosting with Luann. They're throwing a tea party. They decide to make it a relax, renew, reset tea party. And she says no alcohol, but later you do see something that looks like champagne chilling on ice. Leah says that she knows she has to take the high road or there won't be a reconciliation. Lou shows up, and Dorinda says the word co-host for Luann. She doesn't know what that means. Ramona comes and says it's ironic that Dorinda and Lou are throwing a proper tea party. Maybe they're trying to teach Leah a few things, and to which I tell Ramona, look in the mirror. Leah apologizes to Ramona. She tries to say she's sorry. Ramona is talking about how she disrupted the weekend, and they seem to make up. Ramona says if that's her normal behavior, it scares her. Sonja shows up. Dorinda talks about having clotted cream. Ramona calls it potted cream, which I found very funny. Then we got Tinsley arriving, and she had just gotten there and sat down, and Dorinda says she wants to have a word with her. Dorinda, you're really messing this up, and you're very hard to like this season. So they sit down to have their talk. She says, I don't want to approach you aggressively or anything, but you were in Niagara Falls with Scott. Tinsley kind of explains that no, she met him in Toronto. They ended up flying over, and I don't know what Dorinda's problem is. She keeps trying to get her to own it, Lisa Rinna. And Tinsley's just not really wanting to talk about it. So when they go back to the table, Dorinda says, you should share it with the group. So Tinsley is forced to tell the group and gets emotional talking about, seeing Scott. And the group was actually pretty supportive. And I think it was Elise that said, I understand why she wouldn't want to tell us this. It's nobody's business. Dorinda is just so off base with it. It's just so weird. And she's fixated so much on it. It doesn't really make sense. It's like she's just reaching for a storyline or something. So then we see a flash of next time. We got Ramona planning a birthday for herself and possibly Sonja. Dale is crying for some reason. Tinsley screaming at haunted house zombies. And Leah toasts to Tinsley because it sounds like she has some sort of news or surprise. So very excited to see what happens there. So I thought this was another fantastic New York episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought that dinner was insane and infuriating and fun all at the same time. So I really appreciate you checking out this recap. Be sure to check out my other recaps. I cover Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as well as Below Deck Mediterranean. And I also cover Fleabag recaps. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Real Recaps. And I thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.